Good morning, folks. Good morning. Praying all is well. Well, through my timeline this morning, in my timeline this morning, rather, um, Hamas came up again. And I started watching um, when a few days ago, the hostages that got released by Hamas, and they were talking about how they looked, and that they looked like they went through the Holocaust, and people were upset, and I don't blame them. And with this plan going, or at least they're talking about, for the Palestinians to go to another land, and I'm all for that. Gaza, when you look at its history, there was a group of people that lived there long, long, long ago. They were called Philistines. They used to war with the Jewish people also. That's how far back this been going. Now, I trace this back to the biblical times when God, I believe, told Abraham, out of your seed, there will come two kingdoms. And one of them is the Christian kingdom, and the other one was, I believe, the Muslims, Islam. And anyway, those Palestinians, those people there in Gaza, they're those people just full of hate, and they have been for years. The parents of those people full of hate. When their parents were born, they were taught hate in school. That's what they were taught. Their parents and their parents, that the Jewish people, that they're evil and they don't belong on earth, and that it is their mission to take them out. Not only them, and that's what America's, where we go wrong, though I know this. It ain't just them, it's us too. It's us too. And that's why Israel plays such a big role, a vital role, because they live just like we do. We believe the same things, at least most of us do. The freedom of speech and all that, that the women should, be able to go to work, hold office, speak their mind. We might not agree with the homosexuals now, but don't condemn it. We're not going to grab somebody and we're not going to take them to the roof and just, there you go, just because they're gay. We're not going to take a woman that was caught in an affair, stone her in the middle of the street. We're not going to take somebody's hand and just take it off because they stole something. Because if it was like that, I wouldn't have a limb on me. Even if they went through fingers and toes first. I'd be limbless. Oh, I just thought about that. Whoa. Anyway, yeah. So they believe that. So their hatred goes deep. It goes deep. And they need to get somewhere. If this here that's happening, this is so big that God's hand is on this. I mean, God's hand is on everything, but I'm talking about as far as the prophecies go and all that. And I ain't going to go into scripture to try to find it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not there right now. But it is so big that it's amazing after all those years, all those wars. And now they're gonna, it looks like, get dispersed. Palestine, okay, when people say they don't exist, yes, the people are there. They were never a state. Palestine was a made-up name by the Brits that came from years before that. And that's what they called them, but they were never a state. That whole thing about an outdoor jail. Oh, the refugees, they got them in an outdoor jail. I remember when they used to show like the videos of the people and the way they live. I was like, that's not like any jail I ever been to. I was like, golly, they're doing everything that people do out in the street. They got a place to live, they go shopping, they're having babies, watching TV, and they're living like they were free. Go figure. That's how they were living. Like I said in another video I made, when you look at the videos before it got bombed out, it was a city just like any other city, a metropolitan city. Buzzing with noise, kids going to school to be taught how to kill Jewish people. Yeah, they had government going on underneath hospitals as they planned how to bomb their neighbors or how to kidnap them. Yeah, that was going right on. You know, they were busy, the citizens, as they walked by, thinking, wow, all these construction sites, so many manholes. Why the manholes? Why so much concrete going underneath? What they building down there, another city? They didn't know what was going on. Wink, wink. You didn't see that because of the glare. Something I'll figure out. I just don't have the technology right now. Or the know-how. But with time. Yeah, so they were just doing life. But it was just like any other place besides those minor things. And then they decided to do what they did on October 7th. And now they're on the brink of being dispersed throughout the whole world. Yeah. God's hand. After all those years. I tell you, and I ain't blaming nobody. It was just a timeline and that's how things fell into place. But if Jimmy Carter had taken a more aggressive approach when Khomeini and the Islamic Republic of Iran decided to grab American hostages in Iran in what, 79? He should have taken care of them. Well, not just America, a few countries, the Brits and whoever wanted. should have gone in there and rooted that out at its inception. It was just getting off the ground. They should have ripped that thing right then and there. And all the last, 40 years or so, it wouldn't have been as chaotic as it's been in the Middle East. I'm sure probably 4 million people, probably, in all that time. And they took over a country. Their king fled. Can't think of his name. Yeah. It's funny, as a kid, I remember when that happened. And I remember seeing the hostages. I was 9 years old when they took the hostages. And then I kind of go, you know what, then as I try to think back, I'm like, well, I remember them being there. Then the next thing I remember is going to school one day, on my way to school, going down the building, the steps of the building. When I was going through the apartment, the TV was on, and they were talking about the hostages. And it had been a while already. And I remember thinking, man, they're not home yet? Like, why are they still over there? I didn't know. I was a kid. You know? Next thing I know, Reagan's taking office. Well, actually, by that point, I kind of was getting into it. Well, not getting into it, but I read and etc. So I knew there was a deal that when he became president, that they had made a deal that he was that they were going to come home. I do remember that. But anyway, that was the birth of that. They should have taken it. And Reagan, being the cowboy that he was, he should have done it. You know, but they didn't know who those people really were, I guess. And I mean, it was such a coup, and the people behind them, it looked like everybody was behind them. You know, and sometimes you look at a country and say, well, that's what the people want. Even though if you know, oh, that ain't good. But if you get and you do something, then the rest of the world, or even your own citizens, oh, you're just occupying. Mind your business, this and that. Yeah, well, there's only one issue. We share the globe with these people. We share a globe with these people. You know? And the Palestinians, you know, this, I'm sure that we've heard, that we all have heard things like, you could never, case in point, you could never get rid of, or you can't kill the Palestinians, because it's not just the people, right? It's the the idea behind it, the ideology behind it. You can't kill that, right? I think, and I opine, that what they call the ideology, I call spirit. An evil spirit at that. Okay? That, they're correct. You can't kill that. They are correct in that. You cannot kill that. So when they say the Palestinians are not just the people, the ideology behind it, right? Which is what? Islam. Okay? The Abu Akbar and stuff like that. All right? It's an idea. It's a religion. Right? It's a spirit. So what's going to happen, or what could happen, shall I say, those people do get displaced. Some go to Jordan, some go to Syria. I tell you what, I just thought about this. If this would have happened on Biden's shift, we would have been probably having planes full of Palestinians, young men, women also, young kids, right? Already 10 years old, full of hate, right? Sad, but true. Flying to America, where we're at, and they hate us. Probably out of that 1.5 million, as crazy as the Biden administration was, let's take 400,000, spread them across the country. If you think it was a bad idea to take a gang like MS-13 from California when they started, right? And you had them in state prison, and you messed around, and you found out it was a bad idea sending them to the feds, because from the feds they traveled the country and multiplied. That's what happened with that. And imagine if they did that here. People that have no problem with strapping a bomb to their chest, yo. None. None. So those people, I believe, are going to get dispersed through time. They'll be forgotten about, right? If this I'm talking about years ahead, they're going to be a footnote in history, but not that. There's always going to be that ideology that is rooted in that right there, the Palestinian and Gaza thing, that'll pop up, right? And the thought behind that, again, that's from Islam. So it's all in, that's basically like the principle behind all that ideology. The very same one that allowed the prophet, like they call him, to go through all those countries, through one continent after the other. And since they are known to be the religion of peace, what did they do? They took it by the way of the sword. That's what they did for centuries and centuries. Then we had glimpses of the crusade. After hundreds of years of Islam making its way through the world, taking over places, finally, after cries from other countries, the crusade started. Yeah. But anywho, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that they're getting displaced. Now, my concern is this. I always say when you're going to change something to something new, you have to be careful what that new is. You must be careful. Because you might not know what it is that might come out of that. I personally, this is just me thinking, what I would prefer for me as an American, what we should do. I believe we should help, just like every other country should, with the cleaning up, with finding those people somewhere to live, right? I personally don't think they should all go together to the same place. I'm for this, you know, uh, 50,000 over here, 250,000 over there, like that type of thing. And then once they get over there, they figure it out how they want to do it. But they have to do it correctly where we all know that those people are safe and okay. Right? As far as for the land goes. Okay? And I think this is really what probably is going to end up happening. The only thing is they're not going to say that to the world. Because then everybody's going to be like, oh, that was your plan all along. Just to give it to Israel. You know, so what they're doing is they're saying, yeah, we're going to say that. We're going to take it. So what what the president is doing is, he's basically saying, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to step in and say, hey, we're going to take this. Okay? We're going to handle this. This is ours. All he's doing is just taking the fire, the attention, whatever heat might come from displacing those people. What the president is doing is, we'll take that hit. Leave that hit on us. Let us start that process. And once it starts going and construction is happening, you just slowly take control. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's a bad idea to turn that into what the president described. To turn it into all these hotels and all that. Well, you know, to a certain extent, that's fine. But not to turn it into this attraction. That's what I mean. This, it's kind of hard to explain. Yes, it could be somewhere where people come to visit for vacation and whatnot. It just shouldn't be like a Las Vegas. It shouldn't be that. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. And let Israel do that. You know? I think that's probably a good idea. Now, if we could get, you know what I was about to say, if we could get something, Lord forgive me. We are getting something. And it's way more than we could ever ask for. That is a blessing of God. God's hand over us. It's more than anything we could get out of this. It's that. It's that. Anyway, guys, God bless. You guys take care of each other. Bye.